before. Okay, so I just started over. Um, so hi everybody. My name's Phaedre, and when I think about what's up with our world and what I would do to fix it, um, being a yogi, I see things through an energetic perspective. Like I see the energy, and um, that's not something that we just have to think about when we're meditating or relaxing. The energetic realm is the basis of the physical reality that we see. And what I mean by that is, for example, if there's somebody that, hey, well, thanks. So if there's somebody that, you don't like or you have some kind of problem with, for example, that's energetic. It's not something that's actually happening right now in your present moment. It's an energy that you and this other person would bring to the moment, and that would shape everything that you say and that you would do while you're meeting with that person. So, that's just one example of how the energetic realm shapes what's happening in our reality. And what the people, the 99% haven't been noticing is that the reason why we're basically, enslaved to the 1%, there's not any real reason why 1% of us, and it just so happens to be the worst among us, the people who have empathy or compassion for the human condition. Why would they be in control over us? And why would everything that they want be coming true, but nothing that we want that, makes just sort of common sense, like healthcare and, make sure that everybody has jobs, like why don't we have a voice? And it starts with the energetic layer. And I like to sort of present the energetic layer as the blueprint beneath the reality that we're seeing. Okay, so what we do on an energetic level determines what happens, in the conversations and the movements and the situations that happen. Hello, welcome from Iceland. Cool. Nice to see you guys. Okay, so basically, what we want to do to have our power as we the people is we've got to get our energy right. A lot of people are catching on to the fact that this is a battle between good versus evil or love versus fear, and that's very true. But and even though we can point at the 1% and say, that's evil, they don't even want us to have health care, they don't even care if, we know the ingredients are in our food, they go across the world and just kill people, that's obviously evil. And so we just assume that we are good, or we are we're on the side of good, or on the side of love. And while that's technically true, we haven't actually been emanating love. What we've been doing is we've been sort of watching in fear and anger and, complete disbelief. We've just been watching rather than, stepping up as equal energy producers and producing a strong love vibration. And a lot of times when I talk about the love vibration, I don't think people understand what that means. That doesn't mean saying, oh, you look so nice today. No, yes, we won't worry about this and that. That's not the love vibration. That's backwards world's interpretation of what the love vibration would be. That's what people living in a society that doesn't think about love and doesn't value love would think that is. That's not what the love energy is. The love energy is when, within yourself, everybody has what I call the inner control room. Okay, if you want to see your own inner control room right now, just say the word yes, and say it so that whoever's around you can't hear you. Just say yes in that inner voice, and say it again really loud so it reverberates and you can actually feel it like on the drum beat. Scream it down in there. Okay, so that whole area where you can hear yourself saying yes, that's your inner control room. And if that's full of thoughts, if that whole inner space is full of thoughts, your vibration, your level of love that you're emanating is going to be very, very low, because thoughts make you worry. You know, some thoughts feel necessary, but I would say 99% of thoughts are just, cause us to worry. And we don't actually need them. Like, we think we need them, but we don't actually need them. What we actually need to be doing inside is to be doing running the breath, feeling the breath, being conscious of each breath, because that puts us in a higher vibration. That puts us in the love vibration, and we actually feel relaxed. And one thing that happens is the things that we believe and the things that we talk about go into a higher dimension. Like, we really see a better world, and it starts to manifest. Now, a lot of people already do this in their personal lives, and we can look around our own homes and our little rooms that we've made perfect, and we can feel a high vibration, but then we open the door to go out into the world sometimes, and we join the world's vibration rather than bringing our own vibration. We tend to believe that these other guys' rules apply to the world outside of our door. Okay, and just because we've been believing that, like, we'll talk about how much power they have over us. It's just like we've just been sort of believing that these 1% billionaires have all this power over us, and we don't have to believe that. And because we're energetic beings, because we basically are prana, if you look at the sky, or you look at the white wall, or even if you close your eyes and look at the blackness in there, it's not pure black, and the blue sky is not pure blue, and the white wall is not pure white. There's like sparklies on it. Okay, that they're not actually on the wall or on your eyelids. They're everywhere. It's sort of like a grid, an energetic grid that makes up your world. And as you breathe in, you breathe this prana into your body form, and it activates it. It makes it come alive as a human being. And I know it's probably different from any way that you may have thought of it before, because we just don't think of what are we. We're this machine that's activated by bringing in energy. Hey, right. Yes, we are energy. So we're energy that's in this vortex. It's in this form called the human body, and we each have one. And our human bodies is unique and different, but the energy that flows into it to bring it alive and turn us from the corpse state, the difference between the corpse state and our normal state, our live state, is this energy. That's the only difference. When that energy flows in, we turn from being not alive to being alive and functioning. So this next step in our power is about starting to understand this energy. This energy is source energy. It contains everything that brings forms to life. So we can't overlook it anymore, because what happens when we overlook it is the mind takes over. The source energy that we breathe in on every breath, and I kind of imagine it as sort of, as it comes in, it sort of tickles the whole inner form of the body, and it lights up different parts of the body. And the body knows what it's here on earth for, and it's able to live out its destiny if the mind doesn't interrupt. But the mind tends to interrupt and tell us, oh no, you have to do this, and you did that 10 years ago, and you shouldn't have done that, and if you don't say this to this person tomorrow, you're going to be in trouble. And it's almost like a parent, and that mind is actually not meant to take on the role of the life guide. The mind is actually just meant for what children use it for, which is imagination. And you know how children seem almost like a different species than adults. It's like they live in their own dimension. And the reason why is because they're in the love state. We adults are the ones who've mutated out of being the same species as children. We take on the beliefs that the mind holds, which is basically that this is a, dog-eat-dog world. You got to fight to survive. You got to spend every day going after money. And those thoughts that come on most people when we're teenagers, they begin to change us from that happy-go-lucky spirit that, life happened magically for when we were kids, into these heavy adults that are going around worrying and thinking, and we're just not creating in the same way. And because we don't learn about this, it's like we lose our chance to exactly. The children are pure; they're in their pure love state, and even though we don't even talk in those terms in our society, everybody senses that. Like, we think you've got to protect the children, you got to do everything for the children, and it's because that's what being in the love state attracts. And it seems to attract it from us, the adults, but it also attracts it from life itself, from the universe. So when we're in that pure loving state, what our hearts want manifests. That's the key. And it's like we haven't been seeing that because we've been in a state of constant worry, a state of anger, a state of despair, and that literally turns us from being a lighthouse, like emanating light to the world, receiving loving situations back in. That sort of ruins it for it. It's like adding that toxic drop to the glass of water. It changes it. It's no longer pure love energy creating what your heart wants. It's fear energy creating a mutated version of what your mind believes must happen. Okay, that's how we've gotten the political arena that we're in right now, because our minds, like when we think about our collective world, we go into the mind and it's like, oh, despair, oh, horror, these crazy people running everything. And I'm not saying that that's not how it is. I'm just saying that we are in control. And we've got to learn how to not think that the mind is going to fix it, and just put it in the soul. The soul knows how to fix it. And so when we feel those negative emotions coming up about, all these people, they don't share my perspective, they're not smart, and, who are these crazy people who have control over me? Notice those thoughts, notice how unempowering they are. And remember that at every moment you have the power to say, I'm going to emanate love. You don't have to emanate a reaction to what you believe is reality. You can just emanate what you choose. And at every moment, if you choose that to be love, that's going to start showing up. And I have a feeling that on a collective level, when we start all doing this, it's easy for me to say, oh, yes, my government actually takes care of the people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying tell yourself something that's not true, but, we could see this in a higher light. We could see our collective reality as, oh, we're coming into a much higher power than we've ever been in before. And the old stuff's falling away. I almost see it as the little kids have been in control of the house. Like, it's almost like everything from our society is from a little boy's toy chest, up in my brother's room when we were little kids. It's like the guns, the soldiers, the monopoly, the tongue and trucks building everything. It's that's what it looks like. It looks like people who care about the stuff, the wars and keeping all of society going the way it is. It's like they got their ideas out of a little boy's toy chest. But we've got to be the adults, and we've got to say, okay, the little boy taking over the world, they've forgotten that what they're doing, all this fighting and stuff, is just entertainment. It's just meant for fun. It's not meant to be ruling the world. It's not meant to be how decisions are made in the world. What is meant to be how decisions are made are just like in the house. The love, in the house, those little boys, when they come out of the room, they know they have to be obedient to the forces of love, which are providing them with all the food and the beautiful place to sleep and the nice, loving hugs, feeling love. So we have little boys, and not just little boys, but it's that mentality. It's like that life is a struggle, and I've got to prove myself, and it's fine for a game, but not for the way the world is run. And I'm gonna just exactly Gerard, the toddlers are running the daycare, and it's like we've let them because they've got a couple of trump cards, to use no pun intended. And one of those trump cards is money. Like, we're believing that we can only manifest through money. And that's not true. It's like, if we know who we are as energetic beings, we start to realize whatever we want and think out manifests. Money doesn't even have to be a part of that. We're really booby trapping ourselves and cutting off our power by saying, oh yeah, all that energetic stuff is nice, but money is the real deal, and I've got to, do everything for money, and then I'll think about that stuff. That's not going to work for us anymore. We're in the middle of a test that's being put on by the universe. And do we wake up? Do we realize that we're these energetic beings who have the power and don't have to be slaves to these mean, awful 1% people who hoard their money that could be buying the kids food, all these starving kids, and they're just hoarding their money and not helping. It's like, do we stand up to that kind of people, or do we just, go through their systems and try to earn the little bits and crumbs of money they'll give us, or do we say, we are energetic beings. What we want creates. Let's, and create it. And that's the next step that I see. I've seen, thank you, Danielle. Oh, thank you, Danielle. Thank you. Yes, we're cosmic colleagues. There, from what I've heard, there's like 144,000 of us who have become awakened and open to living in the soul level energy. And now, the way that I see it, there have been a few different levels of power that we've come into. Starting during the primaries, a lot of us, including myself, became very political, like politically aware, to a level that we hadn't been before through Bernie. And just through this vision of this better world that we wanted to create. And, why can't we have our better world? Of course we can. And, I was kind of naive back then. I didn't know anything about the hidden power structure and the deep state and, everything that goes on. And gradually we woke up to these different levels of it. It was like, when they started cheating Bernie, and then, awakened even more with the Podesta papers and, the DNC in July, and then the Podesta papers. And, Q has, kept waking people up. And we're awakening to these higher and higher levels of understanding these people don't deserve to be in power over us. We got to get these people. This is not a democracy with these people in power over us, telling us they can have this special health care and hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour, but we've got to, struggle to make $10 an hour. That's not the way life's supposed to go. This money stuff that we've been empowering by giving our days to it and giving all of our thoughts to it, we've been letting it become this false power. We've got to stop that, because what it does is it keeps us in the game. It's a game that's rigged that we can't win, and the 1% have rigged it, so only they can win it. But as long as we keep believing in it, it keeps going. We keep playing it. So anyway, I just feel like I've been all over the map, but hopefully it's making sense. Yes, it's our world. Exactly, Gerard. It's like it's the mothership Earth. It's like it's for the human species and all the animals and all the insects. It contains everything that all of us need to have whatever we want, to fulfill any dream. It's like a storehouse of anything we need to eat, any product we need to make, or anything we want to design. It's all here in this storehouse. But this handful of greedy guys have said, oh no, because I have this money stuff. See this money stuff? It means that I get to own the mutual storehouse. And it's like we've been allowing that. It's like when you think about it, it's like, you can't just say you've got this money stuff. It has nothing to do with the organic earth that we're living on. It's just monopoly money that you invented, and you're saying somehow it gives you the right to starve me. Like, I don't get to eat on my own mothership earth because you've got this money that says you own. It's like there shouldn't even be words like own the planet Earth. It doesn't even compute if you think about it for 5 minutes. So anyway, I just think it's time for us to start thinking about these bigger questions, like, do we even need politics? It's like, what are these guys even doing? It's not governing. They're not governing anything. You know, it's like they've taken this game called politics where they're threatening people and they're killing people, you know, for this stuff called money, which I guess is giving them a better life. They don't seem any happier or any, you know, better or more beautiful or anything healthier. They don't seem like this money game is doing them any good. But, you know, that's what they're doing. That's what they've turned politics into. It's like this game that we have nothing to do with, but the only reason they're even dealing with us is because they can suck money out of us to use for themselves and to hoard for themselves. But it has nothing to do with governing. It's like there's no governing in it. It's a whole other game. And I just think the people who are naturally good at governing, which, you know, look at our society, look at every society, the mothers, that's what moms do. Like, they govern these little mini societies, and they make sure everybody has what they want. They make sure everybody's good, everybody feels loved, everybody is healthy. You know, they learn whatever they need to learn. They do a million different jobs. They're natural. Mothers are the natural governors of society. But then when their charges, the people that they're taking care of, reach a certain age, we give them out to greater society, which is these awful, you know, murderous men who are, you know, sending them off to war, telling them that they are not worthy of, you know, having a house to live in unless they, you know, somehow, you know, do, you know, it's like the whole thing doesn't make sense. It's like, where did these guys get off thinking they should be, that they should be governing us? Like, what governing us are they doing? What skill to nurture people, to help people do they even have? They should be just up in the boys' room and with their little toy chest with the door locked until it's time for dinner. That's my position on that's my position on the whole political sphere. It's like, it's unnecessary. We just get all the moms out, and instead of just, you know, having our little sovereign countries within our four walls, we open the doors and we bring that vibe out into the whole planet. You know, we know how to take care of people. We know how to make sure everybody has what they want. You know, we just see the whole world as one family, see the whole mothership as our home. That's what needs to happen. So for me, it's like, it's less about, okay, we have to change this policy, we have to change this law, because all of them come from the wrong motivation. They're all about, you know, controlling the people so that these rich billionaires get more money, or some game they're playing that I don't even understand. It's not about governing at all, and that's what's got to change. Every group needs governing. Every group, you know, a family, a classroom, a city, you know, a group of friends coming together to live together. We need certain, you know, ground rules or a certain way of being so that everybody gets what they need and everybody feels, you know, important or worthy, or, you know, they feel good being part of that group. Our government isn't doing any of that. You know, they're trying to kill us off. They're doing the opposite of what a governing force is meant to do. That's what's got to change. And I feel like we've been given this big test from the universe saying, okay, you guys, it's time. Do you realize who you are as beings? You know, you're too powerful to live as slaves to these awful people. That's ridiculous. It should be a joke. We should be taking it as a joke and rising up, and not necessarily just rising up the earthly ways, but just, you know, knowing we are source energy, and whatever we want creates, and putting some energy towards creating what we want rather than just towards feeling despair that they're getting what they want. Of course they're getting what they want. They're playing the game of life. They're saying what they want. They're putting energy towards it. They're even sucking our energy out and putting it towards us, towards what they want. They actually have much less soul energy than we do, because they don't have the normal connection to the soul. Okay? What happens is when you start believing that the mind is so super intelligent, instead of having the soul energy, the prana, lighting up the entire body and keeping it activated, it just goes up to the top of the head, which is the seat of the imagination. And it turns that into this big, I see it as like this big hill with wormholes all through it. And that's what our politics is. It's a mind hill with wormholes. If you try to follow it, you can't even follow it. It has nothing to do with the people they need. So, anyway, yes, let's send them to the kids' table, Gerard. Exactly. It's like we have to just stop giving them the authority and saying, oh, well, the law says that they can do it. They wrote the laws. Of course they can do it. Like literally everything that they want to do is a law. And that includes giving them hundreds of $1,000s an hour for doing, no work, just sitting there, in their nice suits looking important, so we don't have to have that. We are as equally powerful as they are as beings. So we've just got, yes, Amy Snow, exactly. They do not feel empathy. They've mutated into a whole other species of human. They don't have normal human compassion. And, I've seen it sometimes in myself, when I have a little bit, a lot of money or saved up or something, and you start getting this feeling of, oh, I got to keep it. I got to make sure nobody takes that from me. Now imagine that times, millions and millions. It's like your whole day is spent trying to keep this money and get some more money. It's like you don't give any soul energy to your heart chakra and, feeling what other people need. You're just used to all these people treat you like you're better than everybody because you have this money, so you've got to keep getting this money. I mean, it puts you on a whole other track. I think we've seen that. Sometimes I think, how do they even have time in their day to do all of this evil stuff? And it's just because they've mutated into a being that is not focused on love and the human experience at all. They're on some whole other game. And if I can bring anything to people, I just want to remind us, we don't have to play their game. We are choosing to play their game by thinking about them all the time, by speaking about them as if they have power over our lives. If we would speak about them more like we speak about television shows, we don't give our emotion. We might know the plot and everything, but we don't go, oh, if this guy on Game of Thrones doesn't do this, I'm in trouble. Like, we separate ourselves. So that's what we have to start being more cognizant of, being able to say, yes, these crazy people, they've taken over this game of politics, but that's not actually reality. Like reality is this energy, the energetic level. And when we switch out of despondency and helplessness and anger and come back into love, which only comes back if we know we have this power, so it's sort of a catch-20, then we start experiencing it, and we stop being so angry at the man boys. It's just like they did what man boys do. They took over the world and played war games. Like, what did we expect? They're not mature people. Now it's our turn to get the house back in order by taking, by being the love energy and, in a state of peace and knowing what truth is, to start being the sovereign leaders of this earth, taking care of earth. It shouldn't be about a power game. There's enough here for everybody. So, exactly, Amy, without a conscience. Yes, they're ego-based, and I feel like there's two different species now. 3 if you count kids, because kids they're like almost purely in the love energy. And then we've got the 1% who would represent almost purely in the mind, wormhole, evil energy. And then they've got all the people in between who are somewhere in between, on that spectrum between love and fear. And, even though we're good people and we believe in loving things, oftentimes we're so scared of the evil people that it draws us into living in fear and anger and despair, which takes our love power out. You only have love power when you actually feel love inside. And feeling love inside is something that, if you haven't felt it for a long time, you might not even remember what it feels like. But it's just, that clear energy and that sense of relaxation, knowing everything's going to be all right, and that a higher power is in control and you don't have to try to figure it all out. It's all of that, and we have to start culturing that within us and staying and not letting them scare us, and speaking truth is part of it, and detaching from it and knowing it doesn't, just what the bad people want isn't what's set to happen. We're in a bigger game than they could ever make. Whoever made Earth is whose game we're playing ultimately. Whoever made nature and characters all put together, there's a bigger mind out there than, the bad people. So anyway, I think that's it for me today. And I thank you guys so much for coming. I just got on Gab and on BitChute, so you can find me there. I would love if everybody, all the cool people in truth, find me on the new sites. So on BitChute, I'm Goddess, then the plus symbol, then love, and then on, I think, Minds and Gab, on my name, Phaedre Christ. So thank you again for coming, and thank you guys for doing this, and I really appreciate it. And Will, thank you from the bottom of my heart for bringing our unity out and our voice out. It's important. We have such strength in our voice. Okay. Bye, everybody. One heart, Lily. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Blessings. Much love.